Hey sports fans, welcome again to another installment of Talkin Rangers Baseball, and we're brought to you by SportsWagers-selections.com and EddieTheHatWins.com, and they're really good with winners. They had the All-Star game last night. They had the National League, and they had the unders at 8.5. So give them a look at SportsWagers-selections.com and EddieTheHatWins.com. And with us tonight is our good friend from up north in Modesto, California, and we have him on the phone, Boppi. Boppi, how are you tonight?
Hey, the old coach is doing fine tonight.
Good to hear. What we're going to do here is talk a little bit about the second half of the season with just both leagues, National and American League. We're going to later do a little separate segment on the Texas Rangers and what we look for them for the second half of the year. But right now, let's start in the National League, Boppi. National League West. What do you expect to happen the rest of the year?
Well, I think that if the Arizona Diamondbacks can get somebody either by the trading deadline or interleague, if they can pick up a pitcher and an impact pitcher, I don't know if there's anybody available like that, but if they can pick up an impact pitcher, I think that the Diamondbacks have the team that could challenge the Giants. Right now, they don't have enough pitching to challenge the Giants. They get some more pitching, they can do that.
Well, I think basically, I think it's going to be the Giants' division, and if the stories coming out of New York are true that the Giants are major players right now for Carlos Beltran, if that happens, the division race is over, I think, Boppi.
Well, I wouldn't disagree at all, but as you know and I know, the whole thing always comes down to pitching. No matter what you talk about, no matter who you have playing every day, it's almost always all about pitching. An example being the Colorado Rockies. Who would have thought with a team that they put together that they would be under 500 this time? And it's because their horse, Ubaldo Jimenez, has not been a horse, but he's been a plug this year.
Right, and you mentioned pitching, and we both know that there are a few teams in baseball with the starting pitching that the Giants have. So my point is, if they add that big bat in Beltran, it's over.
Well, if they had Posey, if they had Buster Posey back, it might be over there too. They know, I'm sure the Giants are aware, without Buster Posey, they have a lineup of pretenders. They need Beltran to give them some credibility so that somebody gets ahead.
So who are you picking? Who are you going to say? Who are you picking out of the West?
Well, in the West, I would say the Giants are my first pick, and the Diamondbacks, if they get somebody, and if Ubaldo Jimenez gets some sort of transplant for his head and gets it screwed on straight, then the Colorado Rockies could challenge. But right now, it's like the Rockies need Jimenez to pitch like Jimenez last year in the first half.
Okay, my pick's Giants by 5 or more games. I don't even think it's going to be close.
Right now, that's the way it looks. It does look that way.
How about the Central? What do you think of that?
Oh, the Central is up for grabs. I like the Cardinals. It's a question of whether or not they're going to have enough healthy pitchers to get them through. I don't think they have enough pitching to make it through the playoffs. I think they may have just enough to get into the playoffs. If it's not them, it'll probably be the Cincinnati Reds.
You know, the Reds have really disappointed me so far this year, and you talk about a team that needs more pitching, it's the Reds, I think.
Yeah.
They definitely, especially with Volquez struggling and having an ERA of over 5, I think in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think right now the Reds are about a 500 team, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not. They're just hanging around.
And
the thing about the Cardinals, you kind of expect them to catch fire because they have been fortunate enough. I would never have picked it. I was the most surprised person in the world when Lance Berkman turned out to be a good player this year. When he returned to form, I was ascribing all of his production declines to age, and I guess it was injury. And who would have thought that guy could play like Lance Berkman of 5 years ago?
Yeah, he's been a major surprise, as have the Pittsburgh Pirates.
And the Pirates, I don't know whether it's the manager or it was the general manager before that, but this isn't a team where Clint Hurdle has just worked miracles.
Right, and they've been talking for a while about some of their young players coming up and contributing, and it's starting to pay dividends. And I wouldn't completely count them out. I think it's going to go. I think you can have the Cardinals, you could have the Brewers. I think of the three divisions, the Central is going to be the most interesting.
It may not even be the most. It'll probably be the most competitive. Although I would go, if we go east and talk about the Phillies and Braves, I'm not so sure that the Braves won't overtake the Phillies. I'm not sure that they will, but the Braves have everything. They're younger, and I think they're stronger than the Phillies are.
Overall, you think they're stronger?
What's that?
Overall, you think they're stronger, even with the Phillies having Chase Utley?
Well, you just don't know how much of Chase Utley, how good is he going to be coming back? Chase is right at that age where when you start to be injury prone, how much of Chase Utley is still there? We'll find out. I mean, if Chase Utley's at his best, they could be a very good team, but you can already see that the years have caused decline in Jimmy Rollins. Rollins is still playing shortstop. He's effective, but he's not Jimmy Rollins of 2 years ago.
But, like you mentioned when we were talking about the National League West, it's pitching, and more pitching. And the Phillies have plenty of that.
Both teams have pitching. In fact, I think that the National League East may have the best two pitching staffs in all of baseball.
Well, I think the Braves have a good pitching staff. I think the Phillies is a fantastic pitching staff. To me, you can't even compare the two.
I like both pitching staffs, and like I said, the other thing I like about the Braves is I love their youth. I mean, they just seem to have a way to get it done, and it's like Justin Hayward, who we thought is going to be the next superstar. He's not really the best player on the team right now.
No, and that concerns me about the Braves is how much are they going to have enough offense to stay in the hunt the second half.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think for the Braves, we talked about their youth, but the other thing that's critical is Chipper Jones has to stay healthy and play in 3/4 of their games. Without Chipper Jones, they're a different team.
I'm going to say the Brewers win the Central, the Phillies breeze in the East, and I'm going to pick the Braves as a wild card team. How are you going to go in those two divisions?
The Brewers are an interesting pick because the Brewers picked up Francisco Rodriguez, and that, boy, talk about having your team set up for the playoffs. If they get into the playoffs, I like their lineup, and I love their bullpen.
So who are you picking in the Central, Boppi?
I think I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed and say Cardinals.
And the East? How about the East?
Go ahead.
How about the East?
Oh, in the East, I think the Phillies are going to win by a nose, and the Braves are going to be the wild card.
Braves wild card. Okay, let's go to the AL. Let's start in the AL East. How's that going to shape up second half?
It's going to be a war between two familiar characters, between the Yankees and the Red Sox, and whoever blanks is going to finish second, and they'll be the wild card. I think that it could be, they could end up being tied and flipping a coin for it at the end. I mean, two great teams. I think the best offensive player in baseball right now wears a Red Sox uniform is Adrian Gonzalez. I am just astonished at watching his swing. John Kruk said it right at the All-Star game. He said he has a perfect swing. And I think we haven't seen a swing like this. And I didn't see him. I've only seen him on film. I don't think we've seen a swing like this on a first baseman since Lou Gehrig.
Well, kind of like a reversal of that old movie, Damn Yankees. I think in the East, when I think of the East this year, when you think of that movie with the Senators fan who sells his soul to the devil to become young again and be a slugging outfielder that the team needs, right. I really, really think that Brian Cashman made some kind of deal with the devil to have Freddie Garcia and Bartolo Colon come through for that team like they have. That team would be a 500 team without those two guys this year. And who would have thought of it during spring training?
Well, nobody would have thought Colon. I mean, there's no one who's thought Colon pitched the last couple of of years who would think that he was going to be what he is this year.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's one of those mystifying. It's like, where was he keeping it before this?
And I think the Red Sox will be there all the way, and I think key to the Yankees, Ken Garcia and Ken Colon keep it up the second half of the season.
Well, and the other thing you're always wondering about is Mariano Rivera going to, how long, he's 42 years old, how long can he keep it up?
Yeah, well, he's still got that cutter, boys, so as long as he's got that cutter, he'll keep it up. So I'm going to go with the Red Sox to win that division. Who are you picking in the East?
The East, I told you, I'm in flip a coin between the Red Sox and the Yankees. I think the Red Sox are a little bit better, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was either way.
So you're gonna pick the Red Sox?
I'll take the Red Sox by half a game.
All right. How about the Central? What do you think there?
Well, I think that the Tigers will win. I think because of experience, because I think the Indians are going to blink, and the Tigers will pick up one more pitcher, a pitcher that'll help them. Not necessarily a great pitcher, but just somebody to bridge. I think the Tigers are going to win just because I think they like it. They like winning, and I just think that's what's going to happen for them.
I would agree, and I think the Tigers will make some sort of move at the deadline to strengthen the team and help get them over the top in the Central. So I'm going to pick the Tigers too. And real quickly, we'll touch on the AL West really heavily when we're talking about the Rangers in our next segment. But just lightly touch on the West and what you think will happen the second half, Boppi.
I'm afraid. I think that the Angels are playing good baseball, and they're playing baseball that will the Angels are used to playing. It's a question of whether or not they can outpitch the Rangers. I mean, that's what it always comes down to. I mean, the Ranger lineup is, I think, maybe 25-30% better than the Angel lineup, but it's all going to come down to pitching and matchups. I mean, that's where it is. And the Angels are getting better every. It seems like the Angels are getting better every week.
Well, the one good move that Tony Regans has made during his job as general manager, probably maybe the only good move, was the addition of Danny Herron to that team, and it's paying big dividends right now.
Danny Herron's a stud.
Yeah.
He's one of those pitchers that you can count on every fifth day, and he'll take on the other team's best or second best, and more often than not, he'll win the battle.
So, who are you going to pick in the West?
This is a sentimental pick. I'm gonna go with the Rangers. This is one of those again where I'm going to pick the Rangers and keep my fingers crossed.
And are you picking the Yankees as your wild card?
I would say so. I think that the pick for the World Series this year, I think it's either going to come out of New York or Boston.
Right. I would agree. I'm going to go with. I think Texas will eventually win out. I think that overall they're just a better team, and eventually that will be borne out. But it's certainly going to be a lot closer than it was last year. And as I think I said earlier, I think the Yankees are my wild card pick, and should be a great second half. Boppi, we'll be back with you soon to talk about the Texas Rangers and what we foresee for them for the second half of the year. And looking forward to talking to you then. This again was brought to you by SportsWagers-selections.com and EddieTheHatWins.com, where they bring you a lot of winners, and we hope you were aboard for their All-Star pick, the National League, and the unders 8.5 runs. We'll talk to you again soon, fans. Thanks again.